So, I'll be waiting for 5 minutes so that uh, whoever wants to join the class may join. So I'm waiting for 2 to 3 minutes more so that all of who wants to join the class may join. Then I will be starting today's session. I hope my voice is clear and my screen is visible to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then I will be starting in 2 minutes. I'm hoping some more students to join. So I hope the people who have joined the meeting, you have downloaded this R software. So any one of you who have downloaded the R software? Okay, so now I will be starting the session. Just let me know once again that my voice is clear to you. Screen is visible where I have presented the slides. So just let me know that whether the slides are you are able to see the slides or not. Am I audible? No, the people who have joined, audible to you? Please respond. This is just tell me. So my voice is breaking. Anyone of you please confirm my voice is breaking?
Yes, ma'am.
No, no, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay, and my slides are visible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, they are visible.
There is any problem, then please confirm that whether my voice or anything is. Someone is. Oh, ma'am. Okay, I think they are visible. So today, how many of you have attended the last session? Okay, so downloaded this R software. So in the last class, we have discussed about how to download the R software and how to work in it. So, okay, I will be starting this presentation, sorry, the live session now. So yeah, my name is Himanshi Singh, and I am currently pursuing my in the broad area of probability and statistics in Department of Mathematics, Jodhpur. And I am your TA for this course, NPTEL course, Foundation of R Software. We will be discussing about the lectures like week 2 lectures. So the lecture 5 to 8 has been uploaded for the week second uh, content. And I hope the videos, the people you have seen the videos which has already been uploaded. So as the previous, so this will be the live session. So in the last week, we have the last week we have had this live session on 28th July, in which we have covered first, second, 8th lecture. And these are the important links which I have already shared to you in the last session also. This is the Google Meet link, YouTube link, and this is a Google Drive. Uploaded the R script and the presentation for the last week, and I have already uploaded the YouTube video also, the video on the YouTube also, and this is the Google Meet link, so from which you all have joined. Again, I'll be giving you a brief some of the demonstration in R. Then we will be doing some of the practice examples. Then finally, if you anyone of you have some doubt, then we'll discuss that. Oh. So all the syntax will the non-executable commands will be in black. In the last already talked about how to download R. So I hope most of you have already downloaded R. So I've given this site. So you site and just click this download R, and then you will get this mirrors from which from any one of it you can just click it, and you will have this interface from where you can download our. Apart from that, we also have here our studio. So in the last week, uh, session timetable. Actually, in the last the presentation which I have uploaded, the session timings and all those things are there. So okay, let me show you. Someone is asking for session. So this will be the live session schedule. So it will be on Monday from 6 to 8 Monday. Okay. So it will be so we have started from 28th July and it will be up till 13th of October. But after that, we may arrange an extra session for practice. That may be after 13th of October. I hope it is clear.
Hello, excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Actually, your voice is breaking again and again.
Okay. Okay, let me join this call again. Okay, I'll just leave it and join it again.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Now my voice is clear.
Yeah, right now it is fine.
Okay, okay. So if there is any problem, just inform me.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, so I hope the slides are visible to you.
Mm, yes, ma'am.
So yeah, we have already talked about how to download our software. Now, I've also, like at the end of the session in the last week which I've conducted, in that session I've also talked about how to download this R Studio. So basically, this R Studio is another kind of an app which is available. So you can download it, and it makes like doing the coding and all those things in R a relatively an easier task for us. So, how to download it? First of all, just go to this website, posit.co. So, there you will be able to see this icon, download R Studio. Okay, for desktop. So, R Studio for desktop, then you will get this download R Studio. So, after that, after visiting, so this interface will come. So, this site is posit.co, download R Studio desktop. So, from here, whatever your system is, you just download that file and just after clicking to this file, you will be that the R Studio will be downloaded in your system, and you will be able to see that R Studio in your computer. So how this R Studio works, and how the like execution of the programs is easier in R Studio, I will be showing you first. Then that, and today we will be doing all the codings in R Studio only. Okay, so after downloading this R Studio, first of all, let me show you how it looks. So yeah, so you can see this R Studio. So when you click that R Studio icon, you will be getting this kind of interface. Is it visible to you?
Yes.
Okay, so here you are getting, see here you are getting this console, and the right hand side two windows are there. So first of all, what you need to do, you just have to see there are options here, this plus option, and here it is coming like new file. So when you click this option, you are getting R script. Okay, when you click this R script, you will get here another window. Okay, so what basically this R script is, first of all, let me tell you. So you can adjust all the width and the length of the windows also. So here this is the R script, the window one, I may call it. So from here, as I have I've created a new file or new script, so this will be the R script. So basically when I was using the R software, at that time I have to create another file, and I was dividing my computer screen into two parts, and in the right hand side I was taking this R script and I'm executing those commands in the left hand side, which was the console basically. Here we have this four windows together. Okay, so when this so this is a kind of new script I have created. And if for example, so first of all let me explain it. So this, from here you will get this R script. Now what, so for example, let me consider that x is a variable and I'm assigning this value 2 to this variable. And and I'm selecting it, and here this is an option. So this is basically run the current line or selection. So when I click this run, then it is executed here. Now you have seen two things. In the right hand side, the values and the variable is coming like x, whose values is 2, and in the below here, so let me yeah, so in below here it is this x, the execution has taken place here in the console. So what I have done, I have created a new script file, I have given some command here. So the command is executed in this console, and the variable, as I'm creating a variable and I'm assigning value 2 to it, so that variable is available here, and the what is a variable and what is the corresponding value, it is also shown here. So basically I will be talking first of all about these four windows. So this so now as we have constructed a file, now how to save it. So here these are two options. So in this option, if you want to, because it is not a saved file, so we first of all we will save it. So if I will click it, then it is basically giving me an option to save it. For example, I have saved it using so I have saved it by practice_1.r. So if I save it, so it is saved. Okay, the name has been come here. Now whatever now for example, I want to edit it more. So y is equals to 3. So I have edited a document. Now again I want to run it. I have run it. Now again as this is not saved, so to save it again, because I have made some changes, so I will click in this button, so to save the current document. So I'll click it and it is again saved. So it will be available in your computer, this file, and whenever you want to access it, it will be accessible, and when you double click it, it will be opened in the R Studio. Okay, so like this I have created another file. So I will be talking about that first of all. Now apart from this also, this is basically the R script, and if you see the below one, then it is console. So here all the commands are performed. Okay, here also we can write, for example is that here also I can write this command. Okay, it will be executed again here. So it is again executed, and the variable is getting the value here, and it is executed. But the thing is, we cannot always do all the things here, because if I'm doing the things in the script file, then I am having a kind of code here, and the execution will take place here in the console. I can save this script file, and it will be easily stored in my computer. So this is basically the role why script file is created, in order to like avoid the mess. Okay, so this is the console, this is the script. Now apart from this, this is the environment. Okay, so here all the values and the variables will be displayed. So how many variables you have so far assigned, what are the values assigned, and also here the types are not there, but the types of the variable will also be there if there are another types of variables. Apart from this, there is this history. So history, whatever in history in the past I have computed all the things, so all those things will be available in the history. So this window will mainly consist of all the variables which I have defined in the script file, or I have which I have executed in the console. And in this fourth window, we have these options of files. So basically how many files I have, like I have this various files, the script files which I have already constructed and saved it in my computer. So these are the files available here in the plot. So if I'll plot some graph here for by some command, that will be displayed in this plots. This is the packages. So for example, these are the packages. So these are the packages which are available, or I can say which are installed in my system. Okay, now these are the packages and there is a tick mark in this. So if so this is, there is a tick mark on base. So what it means that this is a base package. So we no need to call these packages. So this is the data set. We don't need to call this package graphics gr devices. We do not need to call these packages. But if apart from these base packages, if I want to use some of the other functions which are available in boot package, then I need to call it as we have discussed in the last class by using this library command. But here in RStudio, what we can do, we can just only click it here and the package is already called, and now I can use all the functions available in boot. So these are the advantages of R, that we no need to always be memorizing the commands. We can some of the times we can also use the functionalities of the RStudio in order to having a easy way to do the things. Okay, now this is also this help thing. So what we can do, we can also search here. So I can just type sum here and just search it. So it will come some of the vector elements and all the things about it. So I can search it here also. And this is the viewer and the presentation. So mainly we will be focusing on this packages which we will be using, plots and this help thing. Okay, so basically these are the 4 windows which are available in RStudio. So today I will be also doing all the codings and things on the RStudio also. Apart from this, if I have already saved file in my computer and I want to open it in RStudio, then this is the icon. I will click it, and from wherever, so it is available on desktop. So I have already created a script file. So this is, so I'll open that here. So I will be mainly working on this script file today. Okay. Okay. So I hope this RStudio is clear to all of you. So this RStudio, how to use this RStudio, is it clear to you?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now I will be going towards the presentation again. So we have discussed
how to download.
Okay, how to download the RStudio, and also how to like the basic functionalities of the RStudio. Now, basic operation in R software. So in the first live session only, I have already discussed this assignment operator. Now again, what I am doing here, this is the assignment operator. So this is this left arrow and this dash. This is the assignment operator. Apart from this equal sign also is also an assignment operator. Now I can also, here I have assigned the value 20 to the variable x. Apart from this, I can also assign a character to a variable. So I have assigned this BALL. This is a character basically. So if I want to assign a character to a variable, I should always write it in double quotes. So I have assigned this character to this variable y. Okay, so as this 20 is a number, ball is a character. So basically the type of this variable. So what is basically the type of the variable? So in R, this x variable will be a numeric variable and y variable will be a character variable. So this is basically the type of the variable. Okay, now if I have a variable and I want to check that which variable, so this variable is of which type. So this is a function is dot numeric, and I need to write the variable which I have assigned the values. So is dot numeric is a command or a function which is used to know if the value of the variable is a number. Okay, so it will give the output in true or false. So if it is numeric, it will give true. If it is not numeric, it will give false. Apart from this, it will give no other information. That if it is not numeric, then what it is, it will not give that information. It will only give that whether a variable is numeric or not. Apart from this, there is this command also, is dot character. So whether a variable is a character or not, in order to check that, is dot character is also a command which is used to know if the value of a variable is a character. Okay. Now the function as dot numeric. So if I want to change a variable whose character or whose type is a number, and if I sorry, whose type is a character, and I want to change this to a numeric value, then I will use as dot numeric in order to convert the value of a variable into a number. And also I'll use as dot character if I want to convert the value of the variable into a character. Okay, so these are the 4 commands which basically deal with the type of the variable. And also this hashtag. So here in the R script, as you have seen, I have used this hashtags. So what basically this hashtags is, we basically call them as comments. So if I do not want to execute assignment operator, so I want to just give a brief introduction that what am I doing in this coding, and I want to write that thing, so I will write in comment so that it will not be executed. So if I select it, it will not be executed, it will be printed as it is. So if I want to execute this, so if I run it, then only it is executed as it is. No other operation or something is not performed. So basically this comment, this hashtag is used to comment the things which we have, which we want to just write it, and we do not want to execute them. Okay. Now, so this is the comment operator. Okay. Apart from this, we the function ls is also discussed. So ls is basically to know how many objects you have created in your R. So if I have assigned, I have created this x variable, y variable, z variable, and if I write this command ls, then it will display all the variables which I have already created in my R. Okay. So this get wd is used to get the working directory. So where all the files are basically storing by default, where they are going to be stored, that location we will be getting by this command get wd. And set wd will be, so set wd in double quotes, write the location in which you want to, like if you want to change the location and from the current working directory to another, then write the location of that folder in which you want to store. Then the set wd command will be useful for that. Okay. And also if there is a long running computation is doing, the R is doing a long running computation, then just press the escape key in order to escape from all those, and it will be so we will be getting from the previous version of the R. Then if we press escape key, we'll exit from the long running, and we will not be exited from the R. Okay. Also the function R site search is used to search the web for information. Okay, if some packages are already loaded through a library, so for example, if we loaded some of the package, like I have loaded boot before some time. So if I loaded that and I exit from R, then if I'm restarting the R, then again I have to reload the package. Okay. Apart from this rm command, this rm command is used to remove the variable or a set of variable. So if there are I want to remove one variable, two variable, or three variable, then this rm and just the variable name separated by the commas we can write, and it will remove all those variables. This q command is used to quit R. And also R is case sensitive. So basically if I'm assigning a value to small x and I am assigning a value to capital X, both are different variables. Okay. And for example, if I want to like I have many numbers and I want to combine them, then the C123 is used to combine numbers to a vector. Okay. And also, so here we were discussing about what type of, so whether a variable is numeric or whether a variable is character. So these commands will only tell that whether a variable is numeric or not. It will tell whether a value is character or not. However, this mode command is used to know which type of the object is. Okay, so if I write mode and in the bracket if I write the variable name, then it will display that what type of variable it is. Okay. Apart from this, the function is dot finite and is dot infinite. These are the two functions which are used to know whether an outcome is finite or whether an outcome is infinite. Okay. Also, since we have scalars and data vectors now with us, so we can also operate over scalars and data. So I can have an operation between scalars. I can have operations between scalar and a data vector. I can have operations between two data vectors also. Okay, and I can have the operations between two data vectors combined with the scalars also. So we can have all those things, but in this week, sir has only discussed about the operations between scalars and operations between a scalar and a data vector. So we will be concerning, or we will be discussing about those operations only for today's class. Also, R follows this Bodmas rule. So are you aware of this Bodmas rule? So are you people aware of this Bodmas rule? Okay, so basically, yeah, okay, so those people who know about it, so basically Bodmas rule is, first of all, if I am operating certain variables and I have a list of operations between them, then first of all bracket will be solved, then after that orders or the powers will be solved, then division will be done, then after that multiplication, addition, and then at last the subtraction will be done. Okay, so this is the kind of rule which R follows. Okay, so if I so this is the command. If I write 1:20, so it will basically display a number from 1 to 20. Okay, it will print those numbers. So if I want to so this is the command for that. And also I will show these things more clearly on R. Here I'm discussing a brief I'm giving you a brief description. I will be discussing these things in R also. Apart from this, if you see the outputs in R, then in the output you get this square bracket. So basically this square bracket means the position of the output. So at what position this output lies, so basically that is displayed by this square bracket, and in inside this square bracket there is a number which will tell the position. Okay, so we also got this number in the last lectures. Sir has also told, or sir has displayed some of the things which where this kind of number appears. So 7.89 e to the power plus 7. So basically this means, so maybe some can think that it is e to the power 7, but it is not e to the power 7. Here this means in our 7.89 multiplied by 10 to the power 7. Same happens with if e to the power e minus 7 is written, that means it is 7.89 into 10 to the power minus 7. So this basically is the meaning for this kind of syntax in R, or this kind of appearance of characters in R or numbers in R. Okay. So, okay. So I will be first of all discussing all these commands in R first. Then we will be discussing some of the questions. So, yeah. I hope these commands are clear. They will become more clear when I will be discussing it in R. So my R, the all the 4 windows of R is visible to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, so here what I have done, I have created a variable a, okay, and I'm assigning the value 40 to a. Okay, so if I want to run this program here, then what I will do, I will just select it and run it. So here what is happening, the value a is getting, so the value 40 is given to variable a, and you can see in the right hand side also I am getting this a to be 40. Okay, now as in the previous script, I have already given value 2 and 3 to y. Okay, but here again I am giving value 20 and 30 to y. Now if I will run it, as 2 and 3 are already there for x and y, and if I will run this assignment, then this value will get changed. So now x becomes 20 and y become 30. So R basically will overwrite the values which already been given in. So by the previous code, I have already given the values. But if I'm giving the values to those variable are different values, then those values will override the previous values. So here I have assigned. So now here we have used assignment operator, the arrow operator, and here I have used the equal sign. Apart from this, if I want to assign a character, so here I have assigned this ball to Z. So I have assigned it using this double quotes. Okay, and here I've used this arrow operation. Oh, sorry, arrow assignment operator, and here I am assigning the character apple to W, and here I am using the assignment operator to be equals to. Both will follow, or both will perform the same task. So let me run it. So if I'll run it, so see, you can see that Z is 2 previously. Now it will overwrite. So now you can see that Z becomes ball, and that is in character, and W becomes apple. Okay. Now, if I want to check that whether these variables, so in order to check whether these are numeric or their character, I have written these commands. So you can see here X, Y, Z, W, and by seeing it, you can see that X and Y are numeric values, but W and Z are character values. So I'll just verify this using these commands. So is dot numeric X. So if I want to check it that whether X is numeric or not. So if I run it, it will give the outcome true. So is it visible to you? Or I should zoom it?
It's visible.
Okay. Okay. So is dot numeric X, if I write, then it is giving me the output true. So it is basically saying that yes, X is a numerical value. Okay. Now if I see Z, so Z is basically ball. So if I write is dot numeric Z, so if I run it, it will show false. So basically it is saying that Z is not a numeric value. What is it? It is not saying anything about it, but it is saying that it is not a numeric value. Apart from that, it is not giving any information. Now, if I see that Y is 30, so it should be a numeric value. So if I'm writing is dot character Y, so whether Y is a character or not, so it is showing false. So it is basically saying that it is not a character. Again, if I see W, so W is basically a character. I can see, so it should give the output true. So is dot character W, yes. So it is giving the output to be true. So this is basically the commands which basically tells about that which so whether a value is numeric or not, or whether a variable is character or not. Apart from that, it will give no information. Now, for example, if I want to change this numeric value for t, the value of a, or for example value of x, which is 20, which is a numeric value, and if I want to change it to a character, okay, then what happens? So as dot numeric x. So what you people think? If I want to change, so as dot numeric x, so x is already a numerical value. So as dot numeric x, what it will do? It will basically store it will be same only because it is already a numeric value. So it will be same. So if I run it, so it is giving me the value 20. Okay, so it is giving me the value 20 because it is already a numeric value. Now Z is a character. Okay, Z is a character, and if I want to do S dot numeric Z, okay, then what will happen? So yeah, it is giving me a warning message. So what it is basically showing that Z is a character, but I am converting that character into a number. But it is not possible because if I want to change the type of this variable which is already a character to numeric, then it will not be happening because what is the characters of the numeric that we can have a mathematical operations between them. But it is not a numerical value. It is basically a character. Ball cannot be numeric. Okay, so that's why it is showing us a warning message that NA. So it is so for example, if I store this value, so for example here, if I store this value to n, if I store this s dot numeric to n, So this is basically changing the type of the variable z, and I'm storing this to n, and I want to print it. Okay, so what will happen? So basically it has given na to this variable n. So here also right hand side you can see that n has given the value na. So basically it cannot convert or it cannot change this character value into numeric value. It will basically give na to that. Okay. Okay, now so this happens when we want to change a character to a numeric value. But what happens if I want to change a numeric value to a character? So for example, y is a numeric value here, 30. Okay, and I want to change it as dot character y. So I want to change this numeric value y to be 30 to character. So what happens? So if I run it, yeah, you can see in the output that it has changed it to double quotes 30. So basically, it changed this to a character. And if I want to store this, for example, in M, I want to store it. Now you have s dot character y and you have y. Okay. Now y is a numeric value 30. S dot character y becomes a character. Okay. So basically M becomes a character. So if I run it, M. If I run it, now M is stored. So M is a character and Y is a numeric value. So basically what is the difference? That if I want to operate, I want to give some operation. So if I want to do Y plus 2, okay, then if I want to run it, then it will show me 32 because Y is a numeric value. So it will, so 2 will be added to it. But as I have changed the type of the character, type of the variable y to character, and I have stored it to m. So if I want to do the same operation on m plus 2, so what it will show? So it will show error. So it will show that it is a non-numeric quantity. M is a non-numeric, so we cannot apply this operation to m. So it basically changed the type of the variable y. And since I have stored it to m, so m becomes now a character. And if I want to add 2 to it, it will not happen anything. So it will show an error. Okay. Now a w is again a character only. So if I run it as dot character w, then it will show it as it is. Whatever w is, it will show as it is. Okay. So is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so here we have already, so what we have done, we have talked about the type of the variables and how to change the type of the variables, where we have discussed mainly about the numeric and the characters. Okay, now we have already defined many variables here, and since we are using the R Studio, so these variables are visible here. But for example, we are using R software, then these variables are not displayed there. Okay, then this is the command ls. ls means basically list. Okay, so ls and this curved bracket, so this basically will display that how many objects are already being defined in our how many objects we have defined in our code. So if I run it, so it will show a list of the variables. So here you can check that amnwxyz is there, and here also it is displayed amnwxyz. So it basically shows the list of all the objects which we have already defined. And one thing to note, that how the variables which we have already used or which we have already executed, only those variables will be seen here. If we have not executed those variables, those will not be seen in this list because they are not basically stored in our environment. That's why those will not be. So after this ls, if I want to define here the variable, and if I'm saying that okay, I have defined here this not x, if I've defined p to be 2 here, and I'm running ls before only, then it will not show this p there in this. Okay, this is, so it will not show p here. Okay, it will show p when, if I done this p here, so this is basically executed and this is stored. Now if I run this command, then it will show this p here. Okay, so before that, before running this command ls, we need to ensure that all the variables, so it will always show all those variables which we have already defined or which we have executed, not the other ones. Okay, now how to know? So if I want to save something, for example, if I want to save this, so this file is already saved. So if for example it is not saved and I want to save it, okay, so by default in which document it will go from R, so that is basically the working directory where the all the files from here has been exported to our computer. So in which document it is basically going, it is the working directory. Okay, so how to know that in which uh, document or a folder my files are going? So for example, not only this R script, if I have plotted something and I want to download it, then in which document or in which folder it is going. So basically in order to check that, we have this command get wd. So wd means working directory, get means I want to know that in which working directory my files are going. So now if I run it, so this is showing users Himanshi. So this basically is the folder which is there in my computer in which the all the files are going. Okay, now for example, so this is basically the format for Mac. So if you are using some other system, then the location, the format of the for the location may be different. Okay, which you can see in your computer only. So this is the how do we get the working directory. Now for example, if I want to change this working directory and I want to now store all my files to some other working directory, or I want to make or the set my working directory to a different location, then what I need to do, I need to use this command set wd, and in the double quotes I need to write the location. Okay, so if I change the location, so as the format for the location is this, so I will write users users, and since it was going into this folder, I will change it to another folder which I already have. Okay, so if I run it, so yeah, it is executed. Now again, if I want to check that now currently what is my working directory, so I'll write this command get wd here in the console and I'll enter it. So yeah, it is now showing users shared. Okay, so basically now my working directory has been changed, and whenever I will be saving my files, by default it will go to this folder, but if I want to edit it, it will be edited. If you want to change it, it will be changed using setwd. But this format, you must ensure that in your computer what is the format for the location of the file. Okay, so this is basically the about the working directly, how to know it and how to change it. So any problem in this part?
No.
Okay, so fine. Now another command which we have discussed, that how to search. So this is basically command that R site search. So here you can see that R is capital, S is capital, and this S of search is also capital. So if I want to search something on the web and I want to write a topic about which I want to search, so I will just write a topic. For example, I want to search about. Okay, so I'll write it. So what is R site search? Okay, so if I will run it, it will redirect me to a web browser. So it will, so I'm running it, so I'm getting this browser. So in this browser, all these things are open, and from here I'm getting many like I'm getting compute the sum of a list of matrices to some, compute the sum of list of matrices. This is same sum weighted on a number. So these are basically I'm getting the information on the web that what where sum can arrive, and in which sum I'm interested in. I need to like search from here that in which sum I'm interested to have knowledge about. Okay. Also, apart from this, also you can also write it here and get the information. Now apart from sum, if I want to have some information about mean, for example, and if I want to search it, just enter it, so it will give me all the information in this command, this in this window, help window. So it will give me all the information about this arithmetic mean. Okay. And apart from mean, if I want to, like, I'm interested in median, for example, and so it will give me that what basically median is, what is the command for it. So it is median x na.rm false. So these are basically, and all the information about that, what argument x means, what this means. So if I want to know the details about these commands, so I can just search it here in this help section, and I will be getting some of the information about the uh, searched value or searched topic. Now, for example, I have defined many variables here and I want to remove some of them. So here I have this a to be 40, n to be na. So let me, I want to remove that a and n. Okay, then I'll write this rm. So rm basically means remove. Okay, so if I will write a comma n.
Check.
So yeah. So anyone is having some doubt? Okay. So yeah, this is rm a comma n because I need to remove two variables. So I'll separate them by comma. And if I run them, okay, if I run them, then you can see that now a and n are no more in the environment. So these are no more variables. So for example, if there is no environment like this, for example, if I'm using the R software, now how to check whether these variables have been removed or not? So just write in the console a is the variable. So it will give you an error that object a is not found because we have already removed a. And same for n also, if I want to, so it again shows that object n is not found. So basically it is removing both the variables. Okay. So which is the rm command. Now if I want to quit r, okay, so I can quit obviously by using this cross sign, but if by command, if I want to quit, so just write q with this curved bracket, then it will be quitting r. So I will not be quitting it because I do not want to. So yeah. So here again, R is case sensitive. So for example, case sensitive means if I'm assigning a value to capital V, for example, so if I'm running it, so it is basically assigning a value capital V, you can see here, to be 3. Okay. Now if I want to, for example, if it is not case sensitive means that the V, capital V and small v are same. So why is case sensitive? So if I'm assigning a value 3 to V, capital V, and if I'm typing small v, okay, and I'm typing enter, then it is saying error, object V not found. So basically capital V and small v are different things. So if I'm running both of them, then both of them are having different values. So here in the right hand side, you can see in the environment that small v is having value 4, capital V is having value 3. So whenever you are assigning values to the variables, you should keep that in mind, that if you are assigning it to the small letter or to the capital letter, so they both will play a different role. Okay. Okay. Now apart from this, I want to, for example, combine numbers. Okay. So for example, I have some numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have different numbers 6, 7, 8, 9. For example, this m, I have given a variable name m, and I'm assigning a value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to it. So if I want to assign like it as a vector, for example, if I'm not giving it to be a single numeric value, if I want to give a combined kind of a vector kind of value, then what is the command which will be used? So for that we will be using the c. Okay, c, and in the bracket we will be writing all the numbers which we want to combine. So here we are making a vector. Okay, so if I run it, so I'm running it. So I have given this variable m to be this value. So if I want to display it, m, so it is showing this value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now in the right hand side, you can see that m, and it is getting values num15. So what is basically, so up till now we were only concerned about a single variable. But now, sorry, up till we are only concerned about a variable which is having a single value. Now what we are having a kind of vector. Okay. Now what this right hand side NUM 1:5, what is it representing basically? So it is basically saying that it is a vector of length 5. Okay. And NUM means that each entry is numeric. So it also tells about the type of the values which are present in this vector. So that is basically numeric. Now, for example, now if I would have used a different kind of vector, for example, let me construct this vector L, and I want to give a group of characters to it. I want to combine a group of characters basically. So I'll use this command C, and in double quotes, I'll write, for example, apple. Okay, I'll separate it by a comma and I'll write ball. So see what I'm doing, I'm just assigning a group of characters to a variable, and here the characters, because I'm assigning the value, I'm giving the characters, that's why I'm writing it in double quotes. Okay, so if I will run it, for example, L. Okay, so now in the right hand side you can see that L is displayed, and CHR means the entries are character. Okay, and the length of the vector is 2. Okay, now what I will do, first of all, I'll combine two vectors which are consisting of numeric values. Then I will do two vectors which are consisting of characters values. Then after that, I'll combine them and see that what will be the nature of that vector. Okay, so first of all, let me define another vector which also contains numeric values. So that is n. So if I run it, so again here you can see that m is a vector of length 5 which contains of all numeric values from 1 to 5. N is a variable which contains which is a vector of length 4, and all the values are numeric. And if I want to combine both of them, so I do not want to write all the things, I only need to write combine m comma n. So in place of this numeric value, I can also write a vector m comma n. So what this O will be, let me run it. Okay, so you can see if I want to display it here also. So in the right hand side also you can see that it is getting that it is a vector of length 9 which contains of numeric value, and how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can see it there here also. That it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what basically it does, it just combines the value 1 till 9. So basically it combined two vectors which consist of numeric values. Okay, now apart from this L, let me define another vector which has character value. Okay, for example, P. Okay, so let me assign value C. Okay, two values I will be giving. So let me assign a value boy. Okay, and girl. Okay, so here also I have created a vector which consists of two entries with two character entries. So if I run it, I'll get another variable P also. Okay, now one more thing we can do, we can combine L and P. Okay, so what will happen if we combine L and P? So for example, J, I'm giving a the name of the variable, and I am combining this L and this P. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm combining L and P, L comma P. Now I no need to write it in double quotes because it is already a character. Okay, so if I want to combine it, it will be, so what J will be, you can see if I want to run it. So it is showing me apple, ball, boy, girl. So basically it is showing that all these are characters. In the right hand side also you can see that it is a vector of length 4 and each of the entries is a character. Now this is the thing we can see. But what if I want to combine a number and a character, a vector which consists of numbers and a vector which consists of characters? So what will happen? So for example, here I have given this vector name P. So maybe I will give it name, another name G, for example. Now if I want to combine, so here I had this vector M and L. This is a vector which consists of numeric entries. This is a vector which consists of character entries. So let me combine so M and L to it. M comma L. So here what happened that this was a numeric and this was a character. Now let me show you that what will happen to G. So what do you people think that what will happen to, because one is a numeric, one is a character. Now what will be the overall behavior of this variable G? So any one of you can tell? So I hope I am audible to you. Are you people there with me? Okay. So if I want to combine this numbers and this character, so let me show you. If I run it, what is basically happening? So it is so M was 1 2 3 4 5, L was apple ball. So it basically converted all the numbers to characters. The characters are as it is, but all the numbers are also being converted to characters. So G basically overall will be a vector which consists of 7 entries, and all the entries will be characters. So if you want to combine a character and a number, then the outcome will be, or the numeric values will be converted to character values. Okay. So yeah. Now again, I want to know the type of the objects. I have talked about the vectors which consist of numeric values. I have talked about the vectors which consist of character values. Now, if I want to know, so for example, if I do not have these information and all these things, and I want to know the type of the object, then how should I? What is the command which is used to do that? So that command is basically mode. Okay. So if I write mode and as the vector which we have used G vector, and I want to write G here, I want to know the type of the variable G, and if I want to run it, so it will show me character. So overall, the variable G has a type character. Apart from this, we have many variables. Mode of, we have J variable. Okay, I will take a numeric variable now. I have M variable. So if I want to see this mode of M, then it is showing me numeric. Okay, and I have this the variable V also. So if I want to know the mode of V or the type of V, and I run it, and it is again showing me numeric. So this basically is showing me what is the type of the object. Now, apart from this, if I want to know that whether the variable which I have given, some value I have given, whether the value is finite or not. Now, for example, again, let me construct a variable, for example, R, okay, and which is 1 by 0. We all know that 1 by 0 is infinite. Okay, another variable S, which is nothing but 2 by 5, for example. Okay. Now I want to check whether which variable is finite or not. So I will first of all run these variables R and S, or I will just store the value in R and S. So they are basically stored. So in the right hand side, you can also see that R is now INF, which means infinite, and S is 0.4. Now I want to know that whether this variable value the value which it holds is finite or not. So is dot finite. So if I want to write R here and want to know that whether R is finite or not, then I will run this command is dot finite R, and it is showing false. So basically it is showing that it is not finite. Okay, is dot infinite R, so it will show yes, because R is infinite. So it is showing true to it. Same if I want to do it with S. So is dot finite S. If I want to run this, then it will show true. S is finite. But if I want to show ensure that is dot infinite, whether it is infinite or not, S, then it will show false. No, S is not infinite. So it is basically giving us the output in true or false. So I hope these things are clear till now.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now Bodmas rule is followed. As I've already discussed, that Bodmas rule will follow. So what basically Bodmas rule is that first bracket will be solved, orders, then division, then multiplication, addition, then subtraction. Now if I write this operation 2 plus 5 minus 3 divided by 8 to the power 2. Now first of all, what will be, so for example, if you are having some of the calculations and if you want to do it manually, and by following the Bodmas rule, then what you will do, first of all, bracket. So there are no brackets, so this will be skipped. Then orders means the power. So first of all, the power will be executed. So 8 to the power 2, so that will be 64. So it will be 64. So first of all, this power will be executed, so it will be 64 here. Okay, then after that division is there. I am just checking whether it is following the Bodmas rule or not. So first of all, manually we will do the Bodmas rule by ourselves. Then we will totally run the command and see that what the output is coming is matching the output which we are getting or not. Okay, so first of all, 8 to the power 2 is is getting executed. After that, according to Bodmas rule, division should happen. So this 3 divided by 64. So I am doing it manually first of all. So 3 divided by 64. So it will be 0.046875. Okay, so this up till this is happened. So after division, multiplication came, but there is no multiplication, so we'll skip that. Then addition. Okay, so addition will be between 2 and 5. So that will be 7. Okay, so this we have done already. Then addition is between 2 and 5, that is 7. So basically we come to have this 7 here, minus we have already done these things, so that is 0.046875. So it will be 6.953125. So this I have done manually. Now let us see what R will give. If I run the total, then it will giving me the same output, 6.953125, which I have done manually, and this is the output which is given by R. So basically R is following the Bodmas rule. So if I apply some bracket here also, so for example, if I apply a bracket here and here, okay, then the output will be changed, because now we will be first be executing the bracket, then after all the operations. So now here the output is changed, 43.89060, because first of all this bracket will be solved. In the bracket again the Bodmas rule will be followed. Then what will be the outcome? We'll do the power of it. So this is basically about the Bodmas rule. So we will be more exploring this in our practice questions. So we will be now moving forward towards questions. If anyone is having some doubt, then just let me know. So there are no doubts. So no doubt, no one of you have any doubt. So if anyone is having something, then please feel free to ask. Because now I will be discussing some of the practice questions, and I want you people also to do those questions with me, because then only you will be able to understand that how we should write the commands in R. So I will be mainly focusing on the how to write equations. That if you want to solve a certain equation, and for example, you have an equation, and you want to compute that equation for different values of the variables, then again and again doing that is a it is not computationally efficient. So what you will do, you will just write a command for that equation and just change the value of the variables and get the output from R. So this is basically the motivation, and I'll just try to focus on the equation, that how we should write those equation exactly in R, and we'll compute them. How to, where to apply the brackets, and where to apply the powers and all those things. And I will be also discussing some of the commands. So what will be the output of those commands? You people should tell me. So no one is having doubt? Okay, so if there are no doubts, then I will be discussing. Okay, so someone is saying, give an example which is having all operators, that is bonus. Okay, fine. So let me give for that. Okay, so basically there are how many operations? 6 operations are there. So let me start with bracket. So let me have a bracket. Okay, then in bracket, so outside a bracket I am just applying this +2 here divided by 3 here. So I have used up till now how many operations? I have used 1 2 3 operations. Multiplication is also there, so I'll what I'll do, I will write 2 asterisk 3 here. Okay, and I have not used subtraction till now, so I'll write -4. I've not used power, so I will write here power 2. So now we have used all the operations, I think. 1 2 3 4 5 6, yes. So let me first solve it manually by using the BODMAS rule. Then I will, because R will execute it within a second. You will not be able to know that how is it executing. So what is in the background, what R is doing basically, I will be discussing first that. So first of all, in the BODMAS rule, bracket is there. Okay, so we will first solve the bracket. In the bracket, multiplication is there and subtraction is there. So according to BODMAS rule, multiplication will be performed first. So it will be 2 into 3, which is 6. Okay, and this is 6, and 6 minus 4, so it will be 2. So it will give me here 2. Okay, I have solved this bracket now. Now what I'm left with, 2 plus 2 by 3 to the power 2. So I've solved the bracket now. Now I'm having this left with me. Now what is there? Plus is there, division is there, powers is there. So first of all, what will be happening? Orders before the addition and before the division, order is there. So power, first of all, we will be doing. So 3 to the power 2, so it will be 9. So what it will be, so what I'm left with here, in place of 3 to the power 2, I will be having 9. After that, division will be displayed 2 by 9. So it will be basically, first of all, I will be doing 2 by 9, then I will be adding 2 to it. So let me raise it. So it is 2 by 9 and I am adding 2 to it. So it is 2 plus 0.22222, whatever it is showing. So it will be 2.22. Now let me execute it in R. So here I've done it manually. Okay, I've not executed it using R. I've just performed a division here, not anything else. Now let me do the whole thing in R. So yeah, it is giving me again the same output. So is it fine? Okay. Okay, so as we have also discussed this, now let me move towards the questions. Okay, so questions I have already. So let me. So here, yeah. So because I need this slide also and R also, so I will just. Yeah. So I'll mainly for I will be mainly doing things in the R script. So I do not need that environment thing. And also, okay. So this is these are the practice questions. So let me first show these questions to you. So what is basically is, so it is showing that write a command in R to evaluate the following equations for different values of the variables x, y. So for example, you have this equation. For example, this equation you have x square plus y square divided by x plus y, and you want to compute it for different values of x and y. So what you will do, you otherwise if you do not have R, then what you will be doing, you just placing the value, for example, x to be 2, y to be 3, and always writing these things and computing for each of it. But in R, what we'll do, we'll just write a command for this equation and we'll change the assignment of the values x and y. We'll change those values and we'll get an output. Okay, so let me, since it is a question one, so I will give this variable. So I will be assigning those values to this equation to some of the variable. So that I will be naming it as Q11 because it is a question one and part one. So I'm taking the name of the variable to be Q underscore one underscore one. So this basically means question one and part one, just because of the relevance, so that things becomes a little more like you should know that why we are. So if I give this variable as x, then you will just forget that what this variable was. That's why. So for example, I'm giving this values to this equation. So I want to write this equation. So here you can see the numerator, it is x square plus y square, and the denominator it is x plus y. Okay. So first of all, let us be concerned about the numerator. Okay. And so first what we will be do, we will be writing the command for the numerator, and whatever we are writing, we are dividing it by x plus y. Okay. So I will write, so x to the power 2. Okay. Plus y to the power 2. Now here you can see that this power operator is there and this plus operator is there. So as we know, using the BODMAS rule, the power will be executed first, then the plus will be executed. That's why we are writing it directly and not applying the bracket, because I need x square and I need to sum that x square value to the squared value of y. So that's why here I'm writing it like this, because first this square will be executed due to the BODMAS rule. Okay, if it would have not been used the BODMAS rule, then it will be difficult to emphasize that which operation we want to perform first. Okay, now as we are dividing it, so dividing means we are dividing it using this slash x plus y. Now, anyone can tell me, is there any mistake in this equation or in emphasizing the correct? Is it emphasizing the correct way to write this equation? Is it a correct way to write this equation? Any one of you? Is it a correct way? I think both the screens are visible to you now.
Brackets are not given properly.
Yeah. Why? because here it is not correct. Yes, good. So what it is actually, what is it happening here? We are giving division sign here. So what it basically means that we are squaring x, we are adding that to the squaring y, and we are only dividing x and y square. We are not dividing the whole quantity with x plus y. So basically we need to separate this. So first of all, bracket should be here, because we need to divide the whole quantity by this quantity. Now again, the bracket should be here also, because we want to divide the whole quantity in the numerator to the whole quantity in the denominator. Okay, so this kind of the placement of the brackets are very important in order to get the right command and in order to get the right thing done. For example, let me check it first. So first of all, I have written, before that what I have written u underscore 1 for example, let me name it 1 underscore q underscore 1. Oh god, what happened? Sorry, for example, let me name it 2. Okay, now if before this what I have written, I was writing I x to the power 2 plus y to the power 2 divided by x plus y. Okay, now in this scenario, if I want to check whether I have written the right command or not, so here this I need to calculate. So for example, if the value of y is 0, so it will be x square by x and it will be x. So whatever the value I should assign to the x, the value should come like that only. So then it will become, okay, so if I assign x to be, for example, 4 and y to be 0, then what is happening for the first thing? What will be the output? So if I run it for the first one, let me display it, q underscore 1 underscore 2. So it is coming out to be 16. However, for our equation, if I write y to be 0, okay, so it is coming so it is here, it will be 4 square divided by 4, and 4 square divided by 4 will be 4 again. So the output should be 4, but it is coming 16 because the right kind of operations are not happening. But if I run the second command, okay, if I run it, okay, and if I want to execute the value, so what is the value? So it is coming out to be 4. So basically, if you want to check whether you have written the right thing or not, or right equation or not, you just check it for the simple values. Okay, and don't just check only the two values. For example, 4 and 0, just check different values. So maybe for the some combination, the same value maybe appear for both of them. So in order to avoid that, just check for some values. So when you are initially, if you are writing some of the equations in R, just check it for some smaller values so that there is no mistake in your command. So if you want to write this equation, you should follow this. Okay, now I'm deleting this one. Now, for example, I want to calculate this equation, that what will be the value of this equation for some very large number. Okay, q1 underscore 1. Now, I do not need to evaluate anything. Only I have just written this equation, and I'll write this to be a very big number, 4678. And I write this y to be 9067. And I'll just run it. And I'll get the value. Okay. Now, similarly, I will be writing the command for this equation, x plus y multiplied by x minus y. Okay. So any one of you can please tell me that what should be the command for it. I am giving the variable name to be q1 underscore 2. So any one of you can tell me. the command for the next equation. So you may think that there are two brackets, x plus y, x minus y, and they are getting multiplied. So we can write as it is. Okay, so if I write as it is, for example, x plus y, okay, and x minus y. Same thing I have written. Okay, now let me run it first. So I should print the value q1 underscore. So let me run it. So some error is happening. Attempt to apply.
There should be multiplication sign should be there between two
Yeah.
brackets.
Yeah. So we should emphasize, because in when we are writing the in mathematics, we are doing the algebra and all those things. We do not basically, we may mean by these brackets, we mean that they are getting multiplied. But in R, you should emphasize that what is the operation between these two brackets. If it is a multiplication, then you should emphasize that it is a multiplication. So we should write asterisk in between. Okay. So then it will be giving us the output. Okay, whatever the output is, it will be like based upon the values of x and y, and we are getting the output. Okay, so this thing is also done. Now we have next question. Okay, square root, and under the square root, it is x squared plus y to the power 1 by 3. Okay, now I am giving another name of the variable q1 underscore 3. Okay, okay. Now just tell me that what I should write. So for writing the square root, I have two things. Whether I can use the function sqrt, okay, sqrt, whether I can use that in order to square root some of the things, or I can also use power of 1 by 2. That is also the square root only. So I'll perform the operations for both the cases. Okay, that is q score 1 underscore 3. That is alternatively. Okay, so first of all, I'll write it in this function, and because the square root is all over the equation, so I'm just writing square sqrt, and the bracket I should write x square. So this is x to the power 2 plus y to the power, now 1 by 3 I need to write. So for example, I write 1 by 3. Is it correct? Is it correct?
No, there should be bracket to 1 by 3 whole term.
Yeah, so there should be bracket here also, because we are finding out y to the power 1 by 3. If we are not emphasizing the bracket here, then it will do y to the power 1 divided by 3. So that is not correct. And now here I am using y to the power, and in the bracket I should write 1 by 3. So yeah, that's correct. Now let me do it by using the to the power 1 by 2 power. So not using the square root function, I am writing this to the power, and again I should write it in 1 by 2 in bracket. Okay, now both should give me the same output. In place of 1 by 2, you can also write 0.5. That is also the alternative way. I will also print these values q1 underscore 3 and q underscore 1 underscore 3 underscore a. So I'll print those values. So yeah, so we are getting both the values to be same. Q13 is getting the value 4068.003, and the other one is also getting the same value. So whether I use the square root sqrt function or to the power, I'm using the expression to the power 1 by 2, I'm getting the same output. Okay, now I'm writing another, for the fourth part, I'm writing another command. So that is q underscore 1 underscore 4 if I want to variable name. So what it is x plus y whole square. Okay, so I should write x plus y in bracket and to the power 2. Okay, now it will find the power of x and x plus y. Now we are subtracting from it minus 4. So here I do not need a bracket because the power function will be executed first, then the subtraction will be done. Okay, now I want to divide it by x. So division by x. Now is it correct?
No. For numerator, there should be one bracket, including -4.
Yeah, so here also we should give a bracket which will emphasize that the whole quantity is divided by x, not only the 4. Okay, so I hope you people are getting all these things as I'm getting answers also. So I expect more people to answer. So I'll just execute this and we are done. I'm getting the output. So what is the thing mainly that when I'm doing such when I'm writing such kind of equations and if I want to evaluate for different values of x and y, I just only once I need to write the equation, then I'll just change the values of x and y and I'll get the output. Now, last part for this type of questions. So this is basically x square plus y square minus 2xy divided by x minus y whole square. So you all know, I think, that basically the above, the numerator content and the denominator content are same only because x minus y whole square is nothing but x square plus y square minus 2xy. So the division should always be 1 for any value of x and y. Okay, but we only need we want to check that whether the way we are writing that is correct or not. That's why I'm just writing a command for this equation and I will cross check it using it the I will execute that command which I have written and I will just cross check that whether I have written the right command or not. Okay, so as the numerator is wholly divided by the denominator, so I will write the numerator in the bracket. Okay, and I will divide it for afterwards. First of all, I'll write the things in the numerator. So that is x to the power 2 plus y to the power 2 minus 2 because I need to write the asterisk here because I need to always emphasize the asterisk here. So because I cannot write xy here because R will not recognize that what is the operation. So 2 asterisk x asterisk y. So this is for the numerator and we all know that first of all multiplication will happen and then addition will happen, then the subtraction will happen. So this writing has no problem in itself. Now I will divide it by x minus y whole square. Is it correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm giving it name q underscore 1 underscore 5. Now we'll just cross check it for any xy. It should become 1 because we know this identity that the numerator and the denominator are equal. So let me cross check it. So when I run it, I'm getting 1. So whatever the value of x and y for this q15 will always be 1. So we have written the right command. So if I would have not written this bracket here, then the output may be different because see the output is very large. So only a placement of a single bracket can make a very big change. So you should emphasize the bracket at the correct place according to the equation you want to solve. So that is the main trick for this. You just cross check it for some values and just then use the command for further calculations. So I hope up till now there is no doubt. Everything is fine. If someone is having some doubt or something, then you may ask. Yeah, some people in the comment box also have answered. So yeah, okay. Now I will be discussing one more question, which is also so that is basically wait a minute. So yeah, we have discussed this. Okay. Now we have again this. So I am now not using R. Okay, I am not using R now. I need that you people just compute this thing by your hand. Okay, by using, because it is having several operators. So just use uh, Bodmas rule in order to calculate or evaluate this, and just tell me what will be the output. Okay, just use the Bodmas rule here. So what we have, so here we have operations like we have power, we have subtraction, we have addition, we have brackets, okay, we have division. So just find these operation, use it by using your hand only, just do that, don't use R. And after that, when you are done with your calculations, then see the output in the R. Okay, so first of all, according to Bodmas rule, we'll solve the bracket first. So here it is a bracket and which contains a single quantity. So there is no need to solve them. We can just we have to just find out now after the bracket we need to find out the power. Okay, so we'll first solve this power. Okay, so I'll write the this power also. So this is 5 square, so it will be 25 here. Okay, minus 5 will be as it is, plus, so this is nothing but square root of 4. Okay, so that will be 2. First of all, we'll solve this because there is a power here. So it will be square root of 4, so it will be 2 plus. So it is in the negative powers. So it is basically 1 upon square root of 25. Okay, so that is basically what? 1 upon square root of 25 will be 1 by 5. So it is 1 by 5. Now we'll divide it. So it is, first of all, the division will take place. So it will be 25 minus 5 plus 2 plus what will be the 1 by 5? So it will be 0.2. Then we do the addition. So 25 added by 2, it will be 27 added by 0.2. So it will be 27.2 minus 5. So it will be 22.2. So is it correct? Or anyone is having some doubt here?
No, ma'am, it is correct.
Yeah, so let me write this in R also. Okay, then let us cross check whether it is giving us the same output or not. I'll copy it to R. I'll paste it here. So let me give this variable name to be Q underscore question 2 part 1. Okay. Okay, and I'll just display the value of Q underscore 2 underscore 1. Yeah, so we are getting 22.2. Okay. So is this fine? Is this fine with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let me move forward for the next question now. Okay, so here what is happening, that here we have at the first place I'm having a vector. Okay, a vector. So we are combining this number 2, 4, 7, 8, 9 and I'm adding 5 to it. So after this, and we are storing this value to Z. So what z is getting? So z, the value of z, so z is assigned the value or I can say in the output sense, if I see that z is now becoming a vector whose each entry is added by 5. So it will become 7 here. Okay. It will become 9 here. Okay. Here it will become 12. And after that, it will becoming 13. Then it will be 14. So each entry is getting added. So this operation means that in each entry, we are adding 5. So z is getting this value. Then what is assigned to x is z multiplied by 8. Means every value here is getting multiplied by 8. So it is x is getting value what? 7 into 8, 56. Into we are getting 9 into 8 and 12 into 8. Then 13 into 8 and 14 into 8. You can compute these multiplications. Then we are getting finally the values of x. Okay, so let me run it. So first of all, let me write it here also. Is it correct? So the value should be like this. Okay, now I will run it. Okay, sorry. Just copy it from here. Then I'll give the variable q underscore 2 underscore 2. Not this. So yeah. So here if I run it, I'm getting this 56, 72, 96, 104 and 112. Okay. So I'm getting the same output. I'm getting a vector basically. So is it fine? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me move forward for the next question. So yeah. So this is a question. Okay. Here there is another kind of this operator. Double asterisk. What basically this means? Instead of power, instead of this power, we can also use this double asterisk. Okay, so what it basically means, 3 to the power 2 plus 5 to the power 2 plus 8 to the power minus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 minus 9. Okay, so first of all, powers will be there. So it will be 3 to the power 2 means 9 plus 25 plus this is 8 to the power 1 minus 1 by 2. So it is 1 by root 8. Okay. So this is 1 by root 8 means this is 1 by root 8 kind of thing. And this is plus 1 by 3 minus 9. Okay. So what will be, so let me just for the calculation simplification, I'm replacing because now I'm not doing it by using the calculator. I'm just replacing it by 4 so that the calculation becomes a little easier for me, and this by 1 by 2. Okay, so then the calculation will be a little easier for me. That's why I'm doing it. Otherwise you can also do this, because here we are doing all these things manually. That's why there is a little problem in it. So if I'm using this, so this will basically become a 4 to the power this one, and this is 1 by 2. Okay, let me use eraser. So this is 4 to the power. So here only I will write. So this is 4 to the power minus 1 by 2 means it is 1 by root 4. So it will be 1 by 2, that is nothing but 0.5. Plus again it is 1 by 2, it is 0.5 minus 9. So it is 9, then it is 25, then it is 0.5, 0.5 plus 0.5. Now again if I add it, so 25 plus 9, it will be 34, plus 1, it will be 35, minus 9, so it will be 26, I think. Yeah. So let me again now run it in R and just check whether the things are right or not. Yeah, so it is coming out to be 26 only. So are you people following? Okay. Yeah, again we have another vector, and between vectors and between scalars we are having some operations. So what is happening here? Here this is a vector and these are another operations. So basically we are having some operations and we are just operating them to the vector. So first of all we will find out what this value is. So I'll write the vector as it is 2, 5, 6, 8. Okay. Minus of 4, and the powers will be displayed first. So it is 9 to the power 4 to the power 1 by 2. Okay, so it is kind of thing 9 to the power 4. Okay, so it is to the power 4 to the power 1 by 2 minus 1. So now what is happening here? Here it is no bracket is here. So what is it is like 9 to the power 4 to the power 1 by 2. Okay, so it is
81,
yeah
81,
yeah it will be 81. So it will be 9 square. So it is 9 square minus 1 plus 4 minus, and here this vector. So it will be 81 here. Okay, and this is minus 4 and minus 1. So it will be minus, or I can say it is 81 minus 4 minus 1. So it will be minus 5. So it will be 76. Okay, so we are adding basically 76 to this vector. So it will become what it will become? It will become 78. Okay, and it will be 81, 82, 84. So let me check it using R. So that is Q underscore 2 underscore 4. So yeah, 78, 81, 82, and 84. So I'm getting the same output. Okay. So now I am further moving forward for the next question, which will be the last for this session. So what it basically what this question is, so here I am using the command rm list is equals to ls this curve bracket and this closing here. So rm command, so this rm command is used to remove a variable basically. But here, so we were finding out rm, and here I was writing a name of the variable, and it is basically removing x. Okay, but what here it is doing, it is removing list is equals to ls, the curved bracket. So if you remember, this ls curved bracket was basically displaying the list of variables, or instead of the variables I should call them list of objects, list of objects defined. Okay, so basically what this command means, so this is the list of the all objects which are which have been defined in our environment, and it is removing the whole list. Basically that command means that, so basically it removes, so it removes all the objects. After that, what it is doing, it is assigning a value 8 to x, and it is assigning value x square plus 8 to y. Okay, then it is writing hashtag z, and it is assigning something to z, and then it is typing z. So what according to will be to you, according to your understanding of this week 2 lectures and week 1 lecture, what should be the output for it? Any one of you? So is there someone in the chat box? So yeah, any one of you can tell me that what should be the output for this? Are you people with me? Anyone?
It is 1/3 root of 80.
So okay. So as I already told you, this hashtag basically. So what this hashtag means?
Oh yes, it is. It will not execute.
Yeah. So it will not be executing. So it will just be written so it will be written. It will not be executed. Okay, so since it is not executed and we have already removed all the variables and we have only assigned values to x and y and there is no z, so it will be showing an error. Okay, error it will be showing since hashtag command, so hashtag is used for comment. Okay, let me show you in R also. Okay, so if I copy it, okay, and I will be pasting it here. So I will be writing, I will be executing the commands one by one. Okay, so that you will be you will be understanding the things more clearly. So let me first of all make it. Let me show you the environment also. Here we have all the variables. Okay, which were the variables which I have defined on till now. Now here what I'm doing, rm list is equals to ls and this curved bracket. So as I told you that ls will remove all the variables. So when I run only this command, Okay, so what is happening? All the variables are gone. You can see there is no environment, there is no variable in the environment. So all the variables are gone. After that, x and y, if I am executing it, so x and y have values now. But when I'm executing the next one, so it is in hashtag, so it will not be executed. So after this, if I execute it, so it is showing me the error that object z not found, because we have already erased all the variables and we have only x and y. So if I would have not used this hashtag, then the scenario will be different and the value of z would have been displayed. Okay, but since the hashtag is used, so you should be careful about it, that what is it using. That's why there will be an error. Okay, is it fine to all of you? Is it fine? Okay. So now if any one of you, as I'm done with the things, also like I will be okay in the next slides. Let me show you. So this session will be recorded. So this is recorded actually. So yeah, so it will be uploaded on YouTube, and presentation and also the R script will be added to Google Drive. And the deadline for the assignment for week 2 lectures is 6th of August, and next session will be on 11th of August, where we will be discussing all the things about week 3. So now if anyone is having any doubt, then you may ask. Any
Hello,
doubt?
ma'am.
Yeah.
Assessment scores are not yet declared.
Okay, so you have posted that on that Google for that the forum.
Yes, certainly. Today itself, I have posted that one.
Okay, so someone will be answering that, as it is like I am not aware of those things. So someone will surely be answering your question. If there are no answer, then some more people also write there in this Q&A, and then they just write whatever the queries you have regarding this problem. Then someone will surely be answering that.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. So any more doubt? Okay, if any one of you have some suggestion about what should we like, what more I should add to these live sessions, and in what are the things in which you are finding the difficulties, then you can suggest. So I will be keeping those things also in mind in order to like having a more interactive session. Okay, so if there are no doubts and no suggestions, then I will end. Probably I'll end this meeting or this session. Okay, so okay, then we'll be ending this session for today, and I'll be discussing the things about the week 3rd in the next session, and I surely will uploading this presentation and all these things in the Google Drive and on YouTube. I hope that these sessions are
Thank you, ma'am.
useful and helpful for you. Yeah, okay. Thank you, and have a good learning with R. Okay. Okay. Thank you, all of you. Now you may leave. I'll just stop the recording.